Hello and welcome to another Patreon extravaganza with the Divisive Issues boys.
Woohoo!
And we don't say our names, so you're just gonna have to figure it
us.
out.
You know these
Am
names.
I Daryl? Am I Phil?
So this time we're dipping into a classic
Classic?
Patreon well, and we're gonna talk about Tom King.
Yeah, our favorite.
But we're gonna talk about an issue that Tom King wrote back when he was like DC's up and coming fan favorite.
Okay, that explains a lot because I'm like, this is way better written than anything else.
I agree. When you guys said it was Tom King, I was like, but I like this.
So this is one of the books that is why I was excited to do Heroes in Crisis at the time, because I was like, this is the kind of style that I thought was very fresh and cool. And he was nominated for an Eisner, which is like the comics version of the Oscars, for best humor publication for this issue. Him and the Flintstones, neither of them are really funny, but whatever. And Tom King
The fact
year,
that they exist is funny.
yes, and Tom King that year won the Eisner for best writer. Not necessarily for this issue, but overall with his work on Batman.
Truly went to
and
his head.
for this issue. So yeah, what
did I say about James Matthias? Every time a writer becomes big, they become shit. I told you that.
Yes. So it's always good to just make them stay like kind of hungry all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so he won the Eisner for best writer, and this was mentioned in why he was nominated for it as well. So we are doing the Batman Elmer Fudd special,
Yep.
written by Tom King, drawn by
Called-
Lee Weeks, and
called,
Lee Weeks.
Pway
What?
for me.
What?
That's the name of the
Oh,
issue. Is
okay.
Pway for me.
And Lee Weeks is like a very classic, definitive comic artist. He drew Daredevil for like a decade, and like if you're gonna tell a rainy noir story, there's really few artists in the game right now you could get that are gonna work as well as Lee Weeks, in my opinion. At
Yeah.
least.
And if you're gonna do Elmer Fudd, you gotta do a rainy noir story.
Yeah, art wise, this feels like a '90s comic with like better coloring.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
So this is, I mean, he did draw Daredevil from 90 to 98, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. Like you could
Yeah.
tell like it's not like a typical like modern artist. It's a very classic
and
style.
this was part of a series of several DC Looney Tunes crossovers that were, a lot of them were like gritty reboots kind of
comics
things.
deserve to
But-
burn.
But this was the same thing. This was the same era that did, like, this came out at the same time as like Flintstones. They were starting to rebrand that property in a way that was like interesting and new. And I remember like getting these books when they came out, and like I think this is a really cool idea.
DC at this time had these properties. Like, who's gonna read a fucking Looney Tunes comic? Like, you're gonna watch cartoons about Looney Tunes, but everyone's gonna want to see how the fuck do you mix Batman and Elmer Fudd together?
Yeah.
And one thing that I do want to say is people never talk about this because like most of like the kid friendly or all ages books that DC Marvel put up are like not in continuity and very separate, but they had been publishing and still do publish like all age cartoony Saturday morning type Looney Tunes stories. It's just this is the first time they started to take the property and do what, like, I think creatively
Weird
interesting
experimentations
things
with them.
Yeah, and like I think that's much cooler to me than reading another Elmer Fudd story that's the same as the cartoons I watched when I was 5.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, and this story, like, to Tom King's credit, I think this is probably the best thing, ironically, that we've read.
That's so funny because you're one of the friends who saying, "Oh, here's a Crisis so ambitious and stuff," but now his Elmer Fudd work trumps everything else. Right?
Well, it's because it actually does work here, whereas Heroes in Crisis doesn't work, even if it's like more interesting than like noir Elmer Fudd, which is ridiculous.
I do also think that, for what it's worth, based on our history of doing this show, I find that the three of us, especially Sly and I, are much more willing to just buy into, like, the suspension of disbelief. Like, Elmer Fudd's gritty now, sure. Where I know, like, Daryl, you're like, okay, all of this stuff is written in Elmer Fudd's voice. That's a little harder of a pill for you to swallow than it is for us.
Yeah.
Like Phil
Sometimes
said,
the
Pway
wave
for
comes
me.
down so hard you forget you've ever been dry. I want to see it out there in the past or in the future. Weibo's waiting. That's the whole narration.
Yeah. So, like, were you okay with this? Because I know you get very particular about, like, a narration style. Like,
Well, it's Elmer Fudd. I have to accept it. Like, if I wouldn't be
You
reading
have
this,
to accept
like,
it.
like it's based on the premise. Like Elmer Fudd talks like this.
Yeah.
But when you get to a little girl in Bleach going like, Ichigo, are you okay? You're like, no, this is unreadable garbage.
But the thing is, Bleach isn't on the cover. Like, this is the story of a little girl that talks like
Yes,
this.
exactly.
This has Elmer Fudd on the cover. You're buying an Elmer Fudd book.
Okay, all right.
My name
So-
is Elmer Fudd. I'm hunting rabbits. And then he walks into Porky's bar. He says, I watch him take his West Coward. Of course he's calm. Like he doesn't have a care. And then we see a mobster there going, yeah, what's up,
Eating,
guy?"
Yeah,
eating
so-
a carrot.
So immediately here is where you get like the spin on it, where all of the Looney Tunes characters are like in this bar, but they're all humans that just have like, you know, these nicknames and stuff. So Elmer Fudd is actually just a bounty hunter
hitman.
going around.
Yeah.
Yeah, hitman with a shotgun.
We should clarify.
I want to say,
So we should clarify. Elmer Fudd looks like a realistic Elmer Fudd, like human proportions.
Like, all these
but-
guys look realistic.
Yeah.
but Elmer Fudd still looks like Elmer. Like he still has Elmer Fudd hat and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bugs looks like
He's got like a strong overbite.
yeah. So he's just a guy. He's a rascal looking guy with big teeth, basically.
yeah, they're all like human mobster versions of what the characters would look like. And I do want to point out that tonight at Porky's, WC and the Roadrunners are playing a set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
some
one of the specials is
Thump-
Thuffer and
Thumper and
Thuckatash.
Thuckatash.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this bar. Every time I return to the bar, there's just like a million Looney Tunes characters.
This a lot of this comic is just Looney Tunes references.
Yeah. For instance, like
Yeah.
Elmer Fudd's talking to him, and he's like, "Didn't expect you to be here. Think I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque."
And I love Elmer Fudd's like, you seem to take a lot of wrong turns in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
But and then he says, "Fudd, you ever been to Albuquerque?" Nope. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
It's like this darkened version of the Albuquerque joke.
Yeah, and
he-
he
I would also Porky is the bartender, and because he's always behind the bar, we never see, assuming that he's like Porky, I bet he's not wearing pants.
he looks like he definitely looks like he has like porcine features, I guess. And he's pouring carrot juice for Bugs.
Yeah.
And they say earlier his nickname, he's Bugs the Bunny, like how mobsters have like a middle name, like
Yeah.
whatever. And he's Bugs the Bunny loves the game so much he doesn't even mind dying in it.
And so they're talking, and Bugs is like, "You're here to kill me." It's like, "It's a bomb, here to drink. Just drink." "Well, that and kill you." And so he's telling him, it's like, "What if I tell you, like, I wasn't the one that killed this person?" He's like, "All right, who would you say?"
Say what you want to say. It's a free country.
Yeah. "You bring your shotgun? You think I'd come to a dance without a partner? Then it ain't that free."
Bugs tells Elmer Fudd that he's not the one that killed whoever Elmer Fudd.
He said, "I did it. I pulled the trigger on this lady, but somebody paid me to pull the trigger."
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And
And
also
it even tries to do like the noir thing where he's just like, you know, all I've done, I never thought I'd catch it. And Elmer Fudd's like, everyone catches it, Bugs. It ain't your fault. There's a bullet at the end of all our stories.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I know. But who's out there saying the story's got to end? And it's just like, this
I
is
love it.
still Elmer Fudd. And like, I'm buying into it. But every once in a while, you're just like, wait a second. This is dumb. But
Yeah,
then
And while
like,
they're having this conversation, you see all these other Looney Tunes characters having conversations in the bar. Like I forget the guy's name.
Tweety Bird's in the back.
He's like this short, little person.
So I says to her, honey, I thought I saw a putty tat. And she moves in that way. You know what I mean. And I just go, I did see a putty tat.
It's so good.
You get
And then the
Foghorn
guy with
Leghorn over here.
Foghorn
"I say, boy, don't rush me. I got a worse hand than a blind dentist working on an alligator."
And the bouncer is Yosemite Sam, who's just like this buff biker guy.
"Better don't bet, varmint, but do it soon or I'll blast your damn head off." You get just this crazy guy with the mohawk with Taz on his shirt beating people up.
Yeah, there's a Marvin the Martian who's just like,
a
it's just
crazy homeless
everything's-
guy who's like, someday I'll blow up the whole world with my Imodium 836 space modulator. That will surely improve
the view.
And the thing that I really like about these references and stuff and why I think this works is I don't think this book ever stops reminding you that like this is what it is. And like I think if it was like if he didn't have the narration, I would be like, what? Like, you're trying to trick me into caring about this, where, like, I like that it just keeps reminding you, like, no, this is silly, and it's okay to still buy into it.
It goes full bore on both of his concepts, which is why it works.
Yes.
Because if it was just a great story with random Looney Tunes showing up randomly, it would just be boring. And those two Looney Tunes would just be like Looney Tunes v Batman, but now it's this weird amalgam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
he says, like they said, that he's trading information. He's like, I did get paid, and he says, "What's the name? Is it a trade? What's the name? Bruce Wayne," says Bugs Bunny.
Bruce Wayne.
And then
flashback to a woman.
A woman on the bed saying Bruce Wayne.
Now, this woman, actually, Phil, you know her from the small episodes before Daryl joined, but after you joined. That's Silver St. Cloud from the Kevin Smith books.
So this is how we learn. This is how at least I learned that Silver St. Cloud at least was alive for a while in the modern continuity.
Oh yeah, I mean she's not Kevin Smith did not create her. She was from the Steve.
No, I mean like
but
because according to if Cacophony is canon, she died in the old continuity. And this is how we learn, as a fan of Cacophony, that she's alive now.
Fan of Cacophony.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize her here until they mentioned her later.
I looked
they
it
do
up because
eventually.
I was like, is that the actual name of the old lady? And like like I thought they had made her because she has like gray hair too, but she's like really young here. Yeah, so I looked it up. And I was like,
Tweety, old
it's just
lady?
it's just
That's
a Batman
so
character.
funny. Yeah, I mean, Silver St. Cloud like is one of my favorite Batman love interests. So like, I thought that this was a cool idea to make her this like noir like dame that they're trying to track down the killer of. Like, I thought it worked.
Yeah.
And
Here's
it
the
also
best
made
part.
it more Batman than just, like it's not all Looney Tunes. It is a real crossover.
Yeah. Here's the best part, though. After he says Bruce Wayne, he says, "Congratulations." He throws a carrot at Bugs and leaves, and then Bugs goes, "Heh, ain't I a stinker?" Just looking at the camera, I love that.
And then we get like flashbacks to like when Elmer Fudd, because he was in a romantic relationship with
I've
Silver
never
St. Cloud.
loved anyone like I love you, my widow cloud. Tell me you feel the same.
Yeah.
So I find it funny because now I know Tom King well enough that I'm seeing his tropes. And this is like
Yes.
the trope of broken men need a woman to love and fix them.
Yes,
And
every single fucking Tom King story is this. Even this.
Yeah.
But she's like, I can't lie to you, Elmer. There was someone else, someone I will always love. Maybe you know him. I mean, everyone knows him. He's Bruce Wayne.
And while this is going on, Elmer Fudd dresses up as a chauffeur. He takes people to Bruce Wayne's mansion for a party, and then
My name is Elmer Fudd, and I'm hunting Pway boys.
And then he knocks on Alfred's door, or on like the door Alfred answers, and he has to return. He says that he has to return a phone to a young lady.
Oh, this narration I love so much. I didn't grow up in the fancy of the city. I grew up in the dirt of the country. You ate what you hunted. In duck season, you ate duck. In wabbit season, you ate wabbit. You didn't find your prey, you starved. So you learned to find your prey. Bruce Wayne!
And he takes out his
Excuse
gun.
me?
Takes out his gun.
This is for my widow crowd. And then he shoots him.
Blasts him.
Yeah. And so after that, he leaves, and then Batman shows up on the scene. Does it like show you how Bruce Wayne survived? It just like
Actually, he just had body armor on because he's Batman at all times.
so Batman goes and he shows up.
And we should clarify that the actual assassination happened in the middle of a crowded ballroom scene. It's one of those scenes where everyone's so shocked by what happened that they don't react, and everyone's just running. And so Elmer Fudd comics away as everyone's running, and as he drives away, that's when Batman starts following after him.
Yeah.
We get more backstory here where he's telling, it's like, "I love you, Elmer Fudd. I love you, Silver St. Cloud." And eventually, I told her how I survived. Swore to her the next would be the last. But then
The
he comes
West,
back.
to get it right, the West.
The last. He comes back and
And
there's a
flashback.
pool of blood and, in the flashback, and just the carrot.
It was saying the next would be the last, as in this is the last bounty he has to hunt because he's a bounty hunter.
And I love this action scene so much.
Yeah, so Batman shows up. Elmer Fudd hears something outside, a knock at the door. He answers it with his shotgun, and then Batman's behind him. And then Elmer Fudd puts the shotgun on his shoulder, like he's like carrying it, and then he fires it behind him.
He's like completely casual about like, oh, my shotgun's on my shoulder, like I'm resting it, but he's actually preparing to shoot Batman from behind.
And that's a classic Fudd move.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Batman starts like dodging it. They get into like a fist fight against each other. Elmer
And
Fudd.
it's
I love that they're
Elmer Fudd
evenly
is-
matched.
Elmer
I
Fudd
love
is
that
very
they're
pro.
evenly
Yeah,
matched.
I'm
It's
like
so
he's a goddamn fighter.
And,
Like,
I always want to give credit to because I always want to give credit to this. Sorry if I'm a broken record on this. This actually is a really well planned out fight. Like you can every impact's important in this fight.
Also, no dialogue, and it's like every panel really matters. Like Lee Weeks really shines in this.
Like if it was ever fun, this would be like a serious, actual, gritty, dark fight.
yeah, he deserved it. Bruce Wayne. He deserved to die.
No one deserves to die.
If you had known my darling Silver State Cloud, if you had seen what Bugs did to her, you would know some wives aren't worth keeping around.
And he's like,
And this is the first that Batman's heard of this.
Yep.
More than my Silver State Cloud. Swear to me.
What do you know about her?
Yeah, so he's like, what do you know about her? And he's like, that she loved Bruce Wayne.
I
and
know
that
she
he
loved Bruce
her.
Wayne, and he loved her. And when he found out he was with me, he killed her. So I killed him.
And he's like,
They both go,
Yeah, and then they show up at the bar again, knowing that something's off about this. And
Yeah, because they talk to each other, and Batman tells Elmer Bruce Wayne didn't hire anyone.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne survived and didn't hire anyone, and they both say, "Hey, Bugs might have been lying." So we put aside our differences. And
Yeah,
they
he says, I don't trust him, but I don't trust the bunny either. So we're going to put our differences to the side and find the truth.
and they go to Porky's. This is a hard place for hard men. They won't take kindly to your presence. And Batman says, good. My name is Elmer Fudd. He's Batman, and we're hunting rabbits.
and
So they kick down the door.
yeah,
and
there's
they
a
show up.
huge panel of like splash panel of everyone in the bar. There's one
One guy has a
mouse
white
looking dude.
stripe in his hair. He's obviously Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, I didn't catch that one.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
And Bugs is just sitting at the bar, and then you have Yosemite Sam coming up. Look, fella, we got a no varmint policy here at Porky's. As far as I know, bat ain't nothing but varmint. And
That's a great joke.
he's got the two akimbo pistols in his hands as he
Yeah.
walks up to him, and then Batman just punches him in the face. And he's like, if everyone wants to play here, and Elmer Fudd says, we'll play with everyone.
Then we get a Thuffer and Thuckatath as a goon jumps at him, and Elmer Fudd hits him in the nuts with his shotgun, and he says, "Yeah, your Succotash definitely seems to be suffering."
Suffering. And Batman fights Taz.
Oh man. That's Taz. That makes sense.
Yeah, because he has the Taz on his jacket. And
Yeah.
then he says, he puts the gun in someone's mouth.
It's
says-
the guy.
It's the guy who had the dancing frog, and
Yeah.
he goes, "Hello, my honey.
Yeah,
Hello, my baby.
I found-
Hello, my wagtime pal."
Yeah, I found it hilarious because that could literally be like the guy from the original episode. The guy who's definitely trying to sell Mr. J. Frog, but Mr. J. Frog only sings when no one's around. So he basically is that guy trying to sell Mr. J. Frog and no one buys it. But now he's saying, "Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my wagtime pal."
Yeah, you get like Batman slamming Marvin the Martian's head into the table, saying, "Don't worry, the cells at Arkham have a great view of Venus." And then you get one panel of a guy getting punched, whose head's all silhouetted, but as he's getting punched, he's saying, "You're despicable."
I wish we could see more of what they would do with Daffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
Well, I think
everyone's-
Daffy had his own crossover issue. I think.
Oh,
that's
he
why.
did. Thank God.
Thank God. Everyone's beat up, and Bugs is still sitting just at the table eating his carrots. And he turns around and goes, "What's up, Docs?"
It was, for what it's worth, it was the Joker meets Daffy Duck.
Oh my God.
God
And
damn.
then Batman goes, "Bugs,
Yeah.
why did you do it? Why'd you kill Silver St. Cloud?" And then someone down the table says, "That's easy, eating a carrot. He did it because I asked him to."
And it's
Most-
Silver St. Cloud.
Yeah.
You're like,
Most
what?
women come and
it-
leave you, and you can go on with your wife. You wake up, you do your job, and you go to sleep. Everything isn't great, but it's as great as it can be. But then there's some women, just some woman. And she was some woman.
Hi, boys. And it reminds me of, like, because I had read this thing about, like, reading great, like, or writing great pulp stories, where it's like, if you have to make it short, the most important thing is it has to be, like, a very interesting kind of murder, something you haven't seen before. And there's also, like a last act twist is the more crazy it is, the more people will, like, buy into the hook and the premise. And it just reminded me of that, where it's like, how great of a story it is that, like, she hired a hit on herself, essentially. And you're like, well, why'd she do it, though? And she explains to him where it's like, When I dated Bruce, I discovered that every night he became dangerous. I left him because I didn't want danger. Then I found my little fuddy-duddy, safe, secure, until he told me he was too dangerous.
He too was dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a bounty hunter.
I wanted to leave. I didn't want you to follow, so I made nice with Bugs, and he helped me stage a little ruse. When Bugs asked me what to do if Fuddy ever came after him, I told him to call me and send Fuddy to Bruce Wayne. I figured the two of them had so much in common, they'd find something to do together. And Batman asked, and now? Now I leave, and you stay. And Fudd narration, I want her, all I want is her, and I watch her go, leaving us behind.
And the last panel is them all just drinking the problems away.
Yeah, because Bugs is like carrot juice, Porky, straight up, and Elmer Fudd says, "Make that 2," and Batman walks up, he says, "Make that 3."
Yeah, and I just love it.
And
this is like Porky,
carrot juice, and Porky's like, everybody's drinking carrot juice today. We're gonna run out quick. Yep, and the carrot juice is out. That's all, folks.
Well, it's not just, you get like the rabbit season, duck season thing where Elmer Fudd's narration says, all I know is everything has a season. You just got to weed the sign, duck season, rabbit season. Then one day you woke up and realize this season is yours.
That's all,
so
folks.
Yep.
Yeah. And as a bonus story, they have a cartoon.
Which Tom King also wrote.
Yeah,
This is pretty good. It's like Batman. Here was like like Looney Tunes jumped into the DC world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here it's like Batman jumps into the Looney Tunes world.
So every issue had this kind of thing where it was
that's cool.
one was the DC grittier stuff, or not even grittier, but like more serious, and then you also had a Looney Tunes style in the back, which like this was they weren't ongoings. I think they just did like 2 trades worth over like a year. And like that's like I just think that that's such like a cool way to use the IP in ways that do both styles in every issue.
The plot basically is the joke with Daffy and Bugs switching duck season and rabbit season.
Right.
And
Instead of it's rabbit season and bat season now.
yeah, so instead of shooting ducks all the time, whenever Bugs tricks Daffy to make it a duck season, he shoots Batman instead.
And some of the good jokes are like he shoots Batman, and then he's like, "Well, it's rabbit season," and Bugs is like, "If it was rabbit season, then you'd have just shot Batman for no reason. Do you want to be the guy who shoots Batman for no reason? Vengeance is the night, Batman."
Yeah.
And then like later on, Batman breaks out Calendar Man, and he's like, "What season is it?" And he's like, "I'm free, you idiot!" And he just runs away. And
I
Elmer
like
Fudd
that
shoots
joke
him.
a lot. Free, and then Elmer Fudd just shoots him and says, "Bet."
And they do the classic Bugs dresses up as Batman and goes, I'm Batman. And the Batman goes, I'm Batman. They go, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman. You're Batman. And then Batman says, you're Batman.
Yeah.
For the last time, you are Batman. There's only one Batman, it's you. And then
Says Batman.
Yeah, then Motherfucker takes a gun and shoots Batman in the face.
And then at the end, all the Robins show up, and everyone agrees it's Robin season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, did you guys like this issue?
Yes.
I did.
I did a lot.
I had fun with it. It's one of the things where I was thinking, it's like, this is just so much funnier than like the Booster Gold stuff, where Booster Gold was making jokes when he killed Batman's parents, where it's like, it's so much funnier than that, where I was like, can he just not write Booster Gold? And then I was really thinking, it's like, I think he needs like something to base it off of, because a lot of the jokes in this were just Looney Tunes jokes. Like everyone's joke, it was just like, it was seeing a man make, I did see a putty cat.
A lot of his jokes in like his mainstream stuff, I feel like he's trying to ape the Marvel style, or like, and
I can see that
at best. Like it feels like he's trying to imitate like a CW joke, like kind of like basically like he's trying to imitate like bad jokes from what he thinks the kind of humor like a superhero show would have, but he doesn't have the delivery or the pacing or the timing right at any point.
Yeah, and it's like, this is definitely funnier. It's just like, to me, this isn't because necessarily of Tom King. Like, maybe he put it together very well, and like, it's a good noir story. Like, it's a fun noir story. But it's also just like, the jokes in it are Looney Tunes jokes. Like Elmer Fudd, like putting the shotgun behind him. It's smart to include it, but I still don't think that King's necessarily like funny because of it. It's like he had good references, like good material to draw from to make the jokes. Like, part of me enjoying this was just remembering how much Looney Tunes I'd watched and all the jokes, like being like, oh yeah, that's right.
But do you see why coming off of things like this, giving him the event, like the new event, was like it made sense, and like that's why I was looking forward to it, because like I thought it would be like clever and like a lot of the books he was writing at this time. It is ridiculous that this also has a woman trying to fix broken men.
It's the Millar thing where you're just like, like how he always has to include cucking. You're just waiting for it.
But like I like was really like after this I was like, okay, I get it. He didn't just have one good run. Like he's a great writer. And oops, I do just want to say I'm reading through some of the comments, and someone just said, I'll be honest, I hate the whole idea of this one, but on the strength of Roadrunner Lobo, I'm willing to give it a Roadrunner Lobo.
Oh, God.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Speed Buggy Flash issue.
Oh, shit. That is, what a nightmare.
Fuck shit.
But, like, I mean, like, Batman Elmer Fudd at its face, it's a perfect book for this show because it sounds so stupid.
Yeah.
But it, like, does a great service to both of the properties that they use.
Yeah. It's one of the examples. It's sort of like with, like, Afterlife with Archie, where, like, Archie and zombies, it's like, how does this work? And then you see it together and you're like, oh, this is, like, kind of fun. Like, comics can make a lot of these absolutely asinine, crazy ideas, like, work well together.
And also the thing that I like about comics too is like you could do something in one issue that like this joke would go stale if this was a whole episode of a TV show or a whole cartoon. Like having it just be this quick, punchy story that's over and done.
Like you don't need
like
more of this like after.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it works. Good job, Tom King. You made
job,
something we enjoyed.
Basing it off other things like D&D and fucking Game of Thrones. I'm like, wow, you were good when you were not doing anything original.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you meant that Tom King had written a D&D, like a Dungeons and Dragons and a Game of Thrones story. I was like, what are you talking about?
It's sort of like with Lucas, where it's like you need an editor there. It's like pure unfiltered Tom King is always too much.
Yeah, well, that's why I think.
Or like
after
Millar
this,
needs someone that he can't like throw in incest and baby murder.
That's why I think a lot of writers get bad after they become famous, because eventually you become famous enough that an editor won't say no to you, because you are you writing what you want to write becomes a selling point of that book, and so at that point the editor is much weaker than you in terms of any kind of pushback.
Yep.
Yeah, like he won an Eisner, and then I believe like almost immediately after this, his Batman run turned to garbage. Like, sincerely. Like, I think it was, like, pretty much right after this, it became garbage. So, oh well. What are you going to do?
Well.
But I'm glad we all like this.
Yeah. What a surprise. I didn't want to like it, but here I am. I enjoyed it, I would say.
Yes. It's okay. So, we've made it another Patreon month. So, thank you guys for your continued support.
Yep.
And
it means a lot to us.
Yes. Especially the money. That's my favorite part.
Well, support you meant financial support, right?
Yes. So
I pay my bills with this Patreon. So
hey, I pay the hosting fees with this.
Yeah, we actually pay for the website to host all of our actual MP3 files and stuff. So this is important.
Yes. So thank you all for listening and supporting Divisive Issues. I've been Ryan.
I've been Sly.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Daryl.
Stay in Patreon mode.